Hello and welcome to day 37 on the Pacific Crest Trail. After the last few fairly quiet days that we've had, today was a day full of events, so many that I've made a list. But first, please enjoy this book review. Hello! As I mentioned a little while ago, the book I've been listening to is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, and I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 soya squeeze filters. It's got a really engaging plot. All of the characters are humanised really well, including the main character, which is an android. They're given like a sense of imagination. They kind of read into things and even come up with a very wholesome pseudo-religion. It is a dystopian novel, but it doesn't really touch on a lot of the tropes in a very hard-hitting way, instead having a very engaging lens through the eyes of the android, who is kind of a non-judgmental fly on the wall. And it goes into some interesting topics like whether humans have a real heart and soul. It doesn't go into them in much detail, but it still adds just to the depth of the novel. And it's got a really good plot twist, so overall, very enjoyable. Okay, welcome back. So yes, as I said, I have a list and I'm going to work my way through chronologically and we'll see where we end up. So to start with, last night we were magically transported away from Cloudville and woke up to clear skies, no clouds, blazing sunshine, which we've since had all day, which was quite magical. There was still a little bit of condensation inside our tents, but they dried off in no time, which was wonderful. Although we could have stayed there where we camped for a while, and in fact we did, because we had camped on a road. Some of us had put our tent stakes into the ground, which was very tough, so we basically used them like nails and found some rocks to bash them in, which we then found in the morning it was pretty much impossible to remove them from the ground, so we had to dig them out, which was very fun, very entertaining. It took about 20 minutes just to get the tent stakes out the ground, and then we'd remembered that in Tehachapi there was a sports massage available, which we'd kind of been thinking about and tempted by earlier, and then we were like, okay, we should probably book it in advance because we're going to be there in 3 days. So then we spent a good probably half hour just trying to see if there were any available, and I think some of us have managed to get massages, but they were quite booked, so we'll see how that goes when we get into town. Another thing was that as we left our campsite, we realised that there are actually really nice views all around that were just hidden by the fog. So where previously all you could see was like one row of kind of bushes either side, this morning we walked out and boom, there was a whole desert stretching out in front of us and mountain ranges on the other side. So yeah, amazing views and just crazy what the desert is like. Today definitely felt like we were in a desert, and it's just insane that only yesterday we were cold and miserable and wet and windy, and only a day later we're hot and miserable. But it wasn't too bad. It was just very warm, big change up. We also had our closest encounters yet with the poodle dog bush, which it turns out the fresher, newer, more alive looking ones don't really look like palm trees, and they look much scarier just because they're so much bigger, and there were literal fields of them that we had to we were dodging and diving and ducking and weaving through all of them, and it almost felt like for those probably English people out there, it felt like we were in the day of the Triffids, just trying to escape them, which made the day very entertaining, mainly because, so I was at the front trying to guide everyone around and be like, telling them to watch out for poodle dog. So I started off with like, oh, there's some on the right, there's some on the left, but some of us struggle with knowing which direction the right and left are. So Jump Scare has a Gatorade bottle on her right shoulder strap, so it turned into me just going through the path going, Gatorade, non-Gatorade, sneaky Gatorade, chill non-Gatorade, for a good few hours of the day, especially because we then found another patch of poodle dog later on in the day, which there was one bit, I think I've got a photo I can attach. There was the Colorado whitethorn and poodle dog bush, so we had to choose between pain and or some kind of chemical pain, which I thought was very unfair, but entertaining. But yeah, so day was fairly chill on the whole, other than the heat. The elevation was nice. There was a point where we were walking through listening to like Lord of the Rings, a bit of How to Train Your Dragon, Pirates of the Caribbean. So great soundtracks just to be walking through in the woods, which were quite magical at times, very kind of green and lush, which was lovely. Again, after all of the cloud and haze yesterday, it was so nice to be able to see it all. Today was the day that we reached 500 miles, which was pretty incredible. It didn't really feel, it still doesn't feel real because we've been dividing up each kind of section into 4 or 5 days at a time. So it doesn't feel like we've walked 500 miles, but we got to celebrate twice. There were 2 sets of 500 mile markers, which was really cool. So we videoed the first one, and obviously we did the really original thing of walking through that mile, listening to the Proclaimers song. But that was fun, and of course nobody's ever done that before, but we had a great time. And then we finished the day at a lovely campsite that's all nice and flat, and it's dry, and we're going to cowboy again. It's been so long since we've cowboyed, so very excited for that. But yeah, just a day full of events. I did a book review, which I hope you enjoy. Many memorable events. One more thing about Poodlebush is that you can smell it, and it smells a lot like weed. So it's quite funny. You're just walking around and suddenly you get a little whiff, and it's like, ooh, either someone's smoking a joint or we're about to be very scared for our lives. So that's fun as well. And that's what I'm going to leave you on as we head into tomorrow, where we're about 13 miles away from Hikertown, so should be able to get there fairly chill. Very much looking forward to it, where I'm going to get a resupply, new shoes, my spoon, only good things ahead. So it's a bit of a longer video today, but so many things happened, and looking forward to tomorrow. I will see you there.